live right now. So we're live on Facebook
As well as
and
on Instagram.
Instagram. And I forgot that I actually have it go into my YouTube channel. So, hello.
Hi.
Happy Great Minds to everyone. All right.
Yes.
So while I'm sending this to your Facebook um, cousin, tell me, how was your day today?
hmm
Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I'm trying to. How do I share this with my people? I don't know how.
What are you talking about? Facebook?
Yes.
I'll do that. I got it. I'm taking care of sharing it to your page.
It's awesome. My day's awesome. Let me get out of Facebook. Yeah, I can
Yes.
hear you now.
Yes. Like, what are you doing? I got this. I'll take care of this. Anyway, great minds. It's Monday, and today we're going to talk about feeling it. Feel it to heal it. I woke up this morning really feeling the need to talk about um, how to work through your feelings and work through some of those traumas and those things that we've had in our days and lives that we continue to bring here with us from year to year.
Right.
And one of the things that I honestly that I love the most about what I do for a living is the fact that I help people to get unstuck from some of those past traumas
hmm
and to really recognize how important it is to acknowledge them and work through them. Because I'm telling you, in life, if we continue to um, just keep going in that robotic flow as if nothing is wrong, and if we keep suppressing the things that um, um, is a problem to us emotionally, they just become bigger and bigger problems, right?
hmm
Uh, they don't necessarily go away, they just become bigger and bigger problems. So, tonight, we're going to just talk about everything healing, right?
hmm
And what are some of the things that people use to heal? What are some of the things that people have to heal from? So in our lives, we go through many different things. A lot of us have traumas that we carry from a very young age, and what I've learned over time is that that trauma comes into our everyday lives right now. So if it's something that happened to you when you were 8 years old, there is some residuals from it, emotionally taxing residual from it, that we bring into our lives as an adult. And
Right.
and so the question is that I ask people when they're going through something emotional, I always say, how old are you thinking right now? Right? So, how
hmm
old are you right now? And the question always catch them off guard because they're looking at me like, if I asked you that, you would look at me
hmm
like I'm 30
I'm
something
thinking
years old.
now. Yeah, I'm thinking now.
Yes, I'm 30 something years old.
hmm
Why are you asking me that? Well, the reason why
hmm
I ask that really is because the emotions that we typically are portraying at the time is coming from a deeper place. It's coming from the memory of or the feelings that's lodged within our bodies around that scenario, that trauma, whatever that trauma is. Some people it's abuse, some people
hmm
it's abandonment, it could
hmm
be homelessness, it could be because, food wasn't available, it could be
Available.
anything.
Anything.
Okay. So with that, um, we know that the end of the year is coming. We know that we always try to do these resolutions and these things to change something from the previous year.
Right.
But what if we changed um, suppressing our hurts and suppressing our feelings and suppressing the things from the past that's really causing us damage? What if we stop going surface about the things that's causing us a problem and truly focus on going deeper and pulling out the real deal? I mean, aren't you all tired of dealing with the surface stuff?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Hey, aren't we tired of dealing with the surface stuff? Yes, the surface stuff is easier to deal with. I know it is.
Yes, it is.
But it is not going to be, hey, Angel. It is the surface stuff may be easier to deal with, but the surface stuff is not going to be what makes us better people. It is not going to, Angel says, yes, shallow is lame. Yes, it is. It really is, Angel. It is not only lame, so to speak, but what it does, it causes us to keep bringing things year over year over
Year
year.
over year. So it's like we're
Okay.
building. Remember this morning's building, but it's just baggage.
Yes. So we're building. Okay, so we're building the wrong block. Hey, cousin,
Yes.
we're talking about feeling it to heal it, healing our past, healing our, if you're just joining, healing those things from the past that's causing us problems. It's crippling the way we live, the way we love. It's crippling all areas of our lives, and yet, even with that, we continue to bring it over and over again, year over year over year, like
Day after day.
terrible bad baggage, and we bring it in. So what we're talking about here tonight is really, when will you shed the surface and start dealing with things that are deeper than that surface feeling that you have? Hey, Roderick. Hey, Tanisha. I have all of my peeps dropping in. If you don't heal, you won't live or love. That is so
Oh
true.
wow, that is so deep.
But it's real. It's real, because you can't really love honestly and openly other people until you love yourself.
Self,
And
right.
and typically, when you don't heal from past wounds, you can't love yourself. Not truly, not completely. Right? Hey, my friend, nice to have you. So tonight, instead of doing a resolution, because all you do when you say you're going to do a resolution is you're trying to trick yourself into something that you always wanted to fix. So you keep saying it, and you say it, and by the end
March.
of, I was about to say January. I was about to say by the end of January. By the end of January, we're done with that already, right? So what happened? What about him? Here's a novel idea. Instead of putting a resolution to lose weight, instead of putting a resolution to stop smoking, how about if you set a goal to find the root cause of why you smoke, find the root cause of why you have unhealthy eating habits, find the real root of why your relationship isn't working, right? Why don't we find the root of that, instead of saying, oh, I'm going to lose some weight, I eat too much ice cream? Well, the question is, why do you
Why
eat
are
so
you?
much ice cream?
Because they're
Right?
nice.
Really? Is that it? No. I have a friend, Trinace. And when Trinace and I are having conversations, I ask her why. And then I
Mm-hmm.
ask her why again. And then I ask her why again. So she told me today that she have a love-hate relationship with the word why. Because it is, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot really get to the root of it all unless you ask the questions of why is that, and they're difficult questions, but it's really important. So let me see what Angel said. Angel said you have to know why you do something
Be
to be
able
able to
to.
stop doing it.
Right. So true.
And it, as simple as she said it is that simple. But Angel and anybody else who is listening, who's tuning in,
Mm-hmm.
when you ask yourself why and you start to feel uncomfortable with your answer, because after you go about 3 whys down, because I call it like 7 layers deep. So after you go
Mm-hmm.
like 3 whys down, you start to feel a discomfort. You start to, sometimes you feel your heart feels a little bit weird, like your heart's beating
Yeah.
faster. Sometimes you feel like you're having issues breathing. And sometimes you feel sick to the stomach, nauseous, headaches, all of those things. That's because at that point you're about to get to the real root of things.
Get
You're
nervous.
and your nervous system is reacting to the fact that you're about to touch something that you had suppressed and hidden for a very long time, probably all of your life. And although when you go to touch that thing, you might not be around anybody, and it might not be that you're about to reveal it to anybody outside of yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
because you are going in a place that you haven't been and you've been suppressing, then guess what? Your body and your nervous system starts to react to that, right?
Right.
So when you start to touch those deep feelings and you start to get uncomfortable, that's typically when we back away. And you go, I don't want to talk about that in my head, or I don't want to deal with that, or that was
Right.
such, or here's the typical, that was such a long time ago. I don't need to think about that, right?
Right.
But guess what, guys? You do. Because if you don't, you will continue to be overweight. You will continue to smoke. You continue
Mm-hmm.
to be unsuccessful with your whatever
Mm-hmm.
relationship.
Yeah.
You will continue to hide from success. So if you're watching and there are things in your life that you need to heal,
Mm-hmm.
um, this is a time for you to do a little bit of homework. And the homework is, what are the things? What are the things? That's where it starts. What are the things? Right? And at first, you can do that by yourself if you have to. But I recommend people to don't just do these things by yourself. If you need
Mm-hmm.
help, get the help. There are many people out there that can help you. Therapists, mental counselors, there
Mm-hmm.
are life coaches, there are all sorts of people out there that can help. And so you don't have to always try to do this work by yourself because it's difficult work. Angel says you're subconsciously trying to keep that sensitive spot safe, but you got to reveal to heal, like you said. Absolutely.
Yes.
So tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a little bit about the work I do, not the life coach part. The life coach part, it's pretty clear to a lot of people, but I'm also a rapid transformational therapy practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is a hybrid of therapy and hypnosis. So yes, you can say I'm a hypnotherapist, but I have a hybrid hypnotherapy practice where the program that we use called rapid transformational um, thank you, Angel. Therapy is a mixture of different things: inner child work, regression, and really shaping and changing the thinking you have or had on a scenario or a situation. And changing that so that you can reframe it and change how you see it today in the age that you are today versus how you saw it when it happened. And I'm going to give you an example in a minute. So Angel said, Stacy is great at helping with those questions. Oh, Angel. Angel knows because we have had scenarios where it's why and then why and then why again. I've had a regular conversation with Angel, or so she thought. And at the end of it, it was really a coaching session. And I think it was at the end of the hour, she said, we've been talking for a long time. And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, oh, wait a minute. I just had a coaching session. So I tend to like to ask why, to dig deep. So let's go back to the thing about reframing what happened to you as a child. Cousin, is there anything you can remember from your childhood that happened to you that still sticks in your mind as if it just happened?
Oh yeah, a lot of things.
Okay. Any of those? Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to tell you
Go ahead.
what it was, but go ahead and go in depth. Ask the other question first.
What I was going to ask you are any of those things that you think affect your day-to-day life now.
I'm not sure. I'm going to tell you there was this one incident between my sister and I. She threw a rock, a stone, and hit me right here.
Okay.
And I had on my favorite white dress. And that was the last day I had got to wear that dress because, she burst my head and it was all over. And I was like, I'm not even so worried about, my head. It was my dress.
You're worried about the dress.
Yes.
And that's interesting because how old were you?
Probably 6.
And you have a vivid memory of that incident, right?
Yes.
All right. And she was traumatized, not because of her head gotten busted by the rock, but because the blood from the head gotten busted messed up her favorite dress. And I guarantee you that there is something about dresses that will always remind you of that incident, because our mind is that powerful. Our minds are that it holds on to things. It's like a vault. So your mind is like a vault, your subconscious mind, not your conscious mind. I'll tell you about your conscious mind in a minute. Your subconscious mind holds things like a vault, and it holds on to these things. And it's when it's triggered by different emotions that those things will come out of the vault. Those things will stay in the vault until they're triggered. You probably, every time you pick up a white dress, or anytime you go to buy a white dress, or anytime you see a white dress, I guarantee
anything cocktail looking.
So any dress that looks like that dress triggers that memory. Yes?
Yes.
There it is. That's how powerful. That is how powerful our subconscious mind is. And as powerful as it is, hi, Marcia, as powerful as it is that it will carry those memories, it can take those memories and carry them for a lifetime. And if you don't reframe them, you can always have the negative connotation to that memory. And that's a basic memory, but I have some profound memories, and I'm going to share one because I think people need to understand how important this is. I'm going to share a very profound memory. So before I do that, Angel says I got sniper coached. It was good, girl. Yes, you did. I did a stealth mode on her yesterday. Anyway, so let me give you a memory one of mine that was very deep, very profound. Hi, Marsha. When I was a young girl, and I wrote a book about it, so this is not new. Shouldn't be news to many because it's out there for the world. I was sexually abused as a child. Mm-hmm. And one time, I think an adult found out. And when the adult found out what was happening, you know how Jamaica is, vigilante justice in full effect, right, cousin? And when the adult found out what was happening, they took the abuser, mm-hmm. I'll never forget this, they tied him to a tree and beat him to a pulp. I swear to God, had he not been a family member, he would have died that day. I was just 8 years old. So an 8-year-old had an adult in her face saying, "What happened to you? Why did that happen to you?" Right? While the person who did the thing is being beat to a pulp for doing what should not have ever happened. Okay. That's a vivid memory. I was 8 years old. But let me tell you what I took away from that as I was growing. I took away from that if people found out what others did to you that was not right or just, that person is going to get hurt really badly, because I was 8 years old. And so that person's going to get hurt really badly. That's one. Two, that I am going to be shamed and embarrassed or guilt for the thing to happen. And so what happened in that scenario, it turned an 8-year-old girl into a person that got silent. So anything that happened to me after that incident, I never spoke. So that is I know, cousin, you're looking at me like, holy shit. I see your face. It's
I'm making a movie.
It's okay. Breathe, cousin, breathe. I see your face. It's okay.
I'm going to read my book tonight.
Breathe. Just read. So that scenario, guys, shaped me. It shaped me just like the white dress that got destroyed shaped you. The scenario for me shaped me from that day on. I felt like I was silenced. Right. Nobody said you shouldn't speak up. But as a matter of fact, I don't remember. If somebody on that day said to me, you should always tell, that went over my head, because all I remembered is the incidents that were giving me the feeling and the perception that speaking out about your abuse is not the right thing to do. Okay?
Right, yes.
And so I just threw my poor cousin for a loop. Maybe I should have told her I was going to tell that story. But I tell the story because it is very important that we understand how our past scenes and the things that happened to us many, many moons ago. That was 8 years old. I'm 49 years old, guys. I'll be 50 next June. And so you're talking about a 42-year-old memory. Listen to what I just said. A 42-year-old memory. And that memory is still very alive and well in my mind. The only thing that's different now is that it does not shape the actions that I take, and the emotions that comes and the feelings that comes from it is pretty dulled. It's muted, it's dimmed. You know, I don't have any, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to me. All that stuff is okay. So if you're out there, if you're on the IG, if you're on the Instagram platform, if you're on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, and you've had a profound incident that
Mm-hmm.
you believe have shaped you or is causing you problems as we speak today in your older life? Drop a emoji, a raise hand, a something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hello, Ryan. So let's see. Angel says, people think they're helping by doing things like that, but children are very sensitive. That is so true. Because you have
Yeah.
to remember, thank you for that. You have to remember that as a child, we don't have the brain capacity, the emotional intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
or the brain, the part of our brain that
Mm-hmm.
processes things, it's not there yet, right? So when those things are happening to us as a child, we see them through the eyes of a child and we put our own perception to those things from the eyes of a child. So remember that. So if you're out there and these things have happened, um, and now you're an adult and 2020 happened, and for the
Mm-hmm.
last 10-15 years you've been making these resolutions that never goes anywhere.
Anywhere.
They, they stop at day 30 of January. It's because the root of why you're making that resolution in the first place is not being addressed. It's that simple. So it is very important that we find what the roots are by getting with people who can help you through that. Hey, Raymel. So, Raymel, we are talking about healing, feeling it to heal it, and the old scenes of our past that is wreaking us havoc in our lives today. That those scenes that many of us have suppressed, and we've been scared to bring them about. We've been scared to speak about them. We've been scared to seek help because we don't like that feeling. We don't
Mm-hmm.
like the racing heart or the tight stomach or the nausea. We
Or
don't
the embarrassing feeling.
the embarrassing feeling of the situation, right? And so we should commit to counseling too. Absolutely, Marsha. It's whatever it is. And Marsha, I have to say, although I have a mixed bag of people
Mm-hmm.
who watch my lives and so forth, I do feel like from a cultural perspective, um, or blacks or Caribbean or Africans, all of those people who I've had interactions with, we shy
Mm-hmm.
away from anything mental health like. And if it remotely have anything to do with mental health, and just like we go to a doctor to get our
Mm-hmm.
blood pressure check, it should be no different when it comes to the concept of our mental health. Because
Mm-hmm.
if listen, y'all, if this is not right,
This is
none
not
of
right.
us are.
Nothing else is right.
Okay. So it is really important. Yes, identify it and ask for help. Absolutely. It's very important. So growing up, I didn't know anything about a therapist or a mental health person.
Mm-hmm.
We used to see the people who were struggling with mental health, and we used to call them the
Bad
madman
people.
and they would be pushed to the side and they'd be treated in a manner like outcasts, when
Mm-hmm.
really they were just people who needed help. But
Yes.
our culture, our culture meaning, cousin and I are both Jamaican borns, and our
Mm-hmm.
culture did not accept and did not support um, that type of that attitude, that mental stability, or how,
Right.
if your mind's gone, and you get pushed to the side and put in a room for the rest of your life. And really
Right.
think about that now. Think about that. Think about that. So let's see. Ignorance will kill us as Africans. Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. We've got to grow. You've got to do something different to get different results. If you get up every day and you're handling this thing the same way, day in, day out, and you're not getting any results, now that's freaking insanity.
Yes.
That's insanity. Okay. And you may want to get checked on that, because if we keep doing the same thing over and over
and over, yeah,
and we're not getting any results, it is
or
okay
we're getting the same result that we don't want.
that you don't want. There it is. Then it's time for you to try something different.
Something new, yes.
Read something, visit something, ask a question, do something completely different than what you're doing. So Raymel says, so pretty much you're talking about life right now.
His life?
Yes, pretty much, my friend. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's funny as heck. Thank God I've been moving past 30 days in this year with goals, and previous year it is still trauma or wounds that are healing. Yes. But guess what, Ryan? Thanks for sharing. You are working on
Ryan.
You're working on healing those traumas and wounds. So part of what I do, bending down to get my thing that I have as notes. Part of what I do, the rapid transformation therapy part, it's really stinking cool. It is probably one of the most profound things that I've ever had done to me, and one of the most profound things that I've ever done for people. It is quite healing in the most profound way. Like I said, it's a hybrid of hypnosis and therapy. And it helps us to break habits, but not just break them for 30 days. It helps us to permanently break habits, because it taps into your subconscious mind, where the things and the stories, like I just shared in the story about your white dress destroyed, and the story that many of you have, it taps into that root. And it brings out, so if you came to me and you said, I am having anxieties about flying, or I'm having anxieties about height, and that's just a loss of control. When you have anxieties about things like height and flying, there's something deep within that subconscious mind that affected you, where you felt a loss of control at some point. But when we go through this process, what it does, it taps into the real root of why you're going through that thing. Like I said, if you want to quit smoking, you can't just say, I want to quit smoking. You first have to find out why in God's name you smoke in the first place.
Right.
If you want to lose weight by January 31st or March, whatever you give your resolution, a date, you have to first find out, why am I overweight in the first place? If you want to get rid of your depression, you have to find out, why am I depressed? So you must find the root cause of the issues you're having in order to solve them, or else you're just solving for what? Right? Because if you solve for losing weight, then you'll never lose weight. Because our minds does not like to lose anything in the first place. And as soon as you tell your mind that you want to lose weight, it shuts down. Because with loss, there is a sadness to loss. People don't like to lose anything. You don't like to lose money. You don't like to lose loved ones. You don't like to lose things. So you have to first change that verbiage. If you talk about losing weight, you'll never lose weight, because your mind can't wrap.
Yes, around that.
No, your mind is not like the idea of losing weight. So you have to talk about shedding pounds. You have to talk about getting slimmer. You got to talk about eating healthier. You got to talk about something that is in a good space. So that's first and foremost. Very important how you frame it. The other thing is, if you talk about getting rid of the thing without focusing on the the thing you're going to replace that with, that thing will never go away. This speaks to my life in so many ways. Hey, Bree, how are you? I'm glad it resonates with you, and I hope that if you're on this, you are pulling from it some nugget to go with. I've started neurofeedback a couple of Saturdays ago. I'm doing anything, especially if it's natural, to continue healing. Good job. I'm proud of you, Ryan. I'm so proud of you. Yes. And my buddy Raymel said it is definitely important to kill that root of programming from limited beliefs and trauma from your past. As I'm doing the work, I feel free and powerful. It's very freeing, and it is the most powerful thing you'll ever do to your life. So I had a client who, during his hypnotherapy session, he tapped into and had a memory of his 4-year-old self. And after we were all done, he was so excited. He said to me, it's been so many years since I've thought about, he said, I cannot even remember the last time I thought about my 4-year-old self. I cannot even remember the last time I saw my 4-year-old self smile.
Wow.
It was the most powerful feedback that I had gotten in a long time from doing this work. And without the details, that 4-year-old self was carrying him and motivating his actions in this year where he's 43 years old. So if we don't look back and do some inner child work, right? And what I'm going to do in the next 10 minutes, and I'm going to walk you through what an inner child work really looks like. But let me check a couple of these comments. I'm good. I always listen, and you have been so helpful. You were there when I had my first trauma, and since you started your videos and posts, I follow them. Thank you for being such an inspiration. Oh, Bree, that just made my day. Mwah. I'm glad that things are working out for you, and thank you so much for joining and for following my videos. Angelique, focus on replacing or filling yourself with something you think is better. Absolutely. And I'm going to call my daughter Chloe to plug up my phone because I do not want it to die, because I'm about to do something just to show you guys what it's like to do some inner child work. And if you've ever had this done before, then you'll understand. But I'll walk you through it as simple as possible. So if you came to me, Chloe, if you came to me and you said that I want to, I'm struggling with, we'll just use losing weight. And I would put you through a quick hypnosis session of putting you in hypnosis, which is I ask you to roll put your head up, look at a spot up in the ceiling, roll your eyes back, take a deep breath in, deep breath out. You do that 3 times with your eyes fixated. It's the same type of thing you do when you're about to fall asleep. If you ever see a child who's about to fall asleep and you see their eyes fluttering, that's them going into that state of hypnosis. Give me a second, guys, because I don't want IG to lose out on this. Give me a minute. Okay, I'm back. So once I put you into this place where I have you do your breath up and down, and you're breathing, and you close your eyes, I then walk you down 10 flights of steps. And when I walk you down 10 flights of steps, sorry guys, just trying to make sure I still have connection for IG. And when I walk you down the 10 flights of steps, and each time I walk you down the steps, I tell you about how deep you're going into hypnosis. And I talk about you going into a deep, comfortable, and it's not a sleep. It's just a calm, subconscious place. While you're there, guys, this is where I can talk to you about things that's happened in the past. This is typically where you will bring things about that you might not bring about in your conscious mind. Your conscious mind typically are very guarded and will not a lot of times bring things out because of a fear of judgment. However, your subconscious mind is more open and will allow yourself to bring about the things that needs to be addressed. And it's suggestible. So it's suggestible to you bringing in more positive and constructive thinking than the judgmental part of your brain, which is the conscious part. So after I do that, I do a thing where your eyes are closed. So just imagine this. And I ask you to take yourself back. Cousin, you can do it. Close your eyes. And I ask you to take yourself back to a time and place in your younger years. And you go back to maybe the house you lived in when you were a certain age, and you can pick any age. Maybe you're 5 years old, maybe you're 6 years old. And you go back in your mind to this place you grew up in. And when you get there, you see your younger self. And I ask you to find your younger self. And you find your younger self. And I ask you whether your younger self is happy or if your younger self is sad. So if you're seeing your younger self, cousin, I would say, do you see a happy child or a sad child?
She's happy because I think we're at a party, my party.
You're at a party. Okay. So you see how the mind can visualize and just take you right there, just in the moment of you stilling it and thinking about it and taking you and going to see this child. So when you go to see your younger self and you pick a scene, if the child is happy, this is where, as your practitioner, I am excited. I want to know why. And my cousin Nerisa just said, I'm at a party. And so there is something good that's happening in her mind with this child in the party. Whatever it is that's making the child happy, as your practitioner, I'm going to tell you, capture that. Because right now, in the age that you are, 30, 32, 33, 40, 50, however old you are, whatever made you happy as a child, something along the way, sometimes things will take that away. Life stinking happens and it toss goodness away. So while cousin Nerisa and anybody else is thinking about their younger child, she sees a happy child. If you see the unhappy younger you, this is where you as the adult get to have a chat with that child. This is where you get to tell the child that the scene that they're in doesn't exist now in the age that you are today. This is where you get to affirm that child, right? It's a very powerful thing when you get to tap into the inner child. People say things sometimes about we don't know how to be children anymore, or we forget to do the things that we used to do as a child. And it's true. I started reliving that when Chloe was born. And I did a lot of it with Matthew, but Chloe was a lot more adventurous than Matthew was. And so I got to do some adventurous stuff. I am 49 years old, and you can find me jumping on Chloe's trampoline at any given day. So you relive some of the things. Some of the things I never got to do, so I do it with her because it's cool. Those are the things I wish I got to do when I was a child. So the inner child work is about tapping into you as a child at an age that was critical to who you are today, what shapes you today, the emotions that triggers the feelings that triggers your reactions and your responses. And that is a work that is done with a simple technique of walking you down 10 flights of steps, where it puts you into a relaxed mode, a visual to your subconscious mode. And even then, the practitioner doesn't say, oh, so now you're 5. You get to tell me how old you are. So even at that party, do you remember how old you were then?
Probably 8.
Probably 8. There it is. Yeah. So she was able to tell me, in my mind, I saw 8-year-old Nerissa very happy at a party. Now, if we continued, there might have been some additional things that came from that, right? So the reason why I went this deep to really explain this stuff to you is that it's very important that you know that the things that happened to you happened to you. When you think about them in order to heal them, all you are doing is watching them on a movie screen. They are going to tap into some of those emotions. Some of them may be negative emotions, which is triggered and comes from, because you put all your trauma and stuff in your nervous system, and when you think about it triggers them and it brings up those negative emotions. But once you dive into that and you get yourself a practitioner, a therapist, someone who can help you and guide you through that process to help you to understand what happened in those scenes and how is it affecting me now, and what can I do to reaffirm and reframe those things so that they don't negatively impact my life today. Because I promise you guys, it is not about the surface of the thing that you're trying to change. Everything that you're trying to change, in your life, there is a deeper root to that thing. Every single thing. And the moment that I was able to sit down and analyze it and write them down and put it together to why I am the person I am today, why I was an independent soul. That's a 16-year-old scene. Why I don't trust, that the trust issue started from a year old. There's so many different scenes that you will find. And you're smiling. Why are you smiling?
You said a year old.
Yes. Yes, I said a year old. You want to know why?
Yeah.
Because I'm an open book. My parents were teenagers. So my parents left when I was a year. My mom was gone when I was a year old.
Okay, understood now.
So yes, trust issues started since I was a year old. So, and it's funny because you laugh like a year old. How can you have it? It started then. It did. But you don't
because
know.
You found the source. You found the source, as you were mentioning earlier today. Also, Angelique mentioned that too.
Yes. Let's see. Ryan said, I visioned myself as a young child as I felt free when I rode my bike outside and time spent alone. I used to play with snails in the dirt and had a great time by myself exploring for some odd reason. I felt my body being constricted when it came to socializing with other kids. And there's a reason for that last part. Thank you for sharing. There's a reason for that last part. And, so guys, listen, it's, I like to make things a little fun and quirky, but what we're talking about is things that can seriously change the trajectory of our lives. It can change who we are. It could change our success. It can change what we focus on. It can change a lot about who we are if we can tap into the real reasons we do the things that we do, right? So feel it to heal it is no joke. It's serious. It's serious. And you have to allow it. So one of the quotes I put out today was a quote by Rumi, Rumi. He's a old school philosopher, been gone for a long time. And it is through the wound where the light enters you. It is through the wound where your light enters you. In other words, you have to open up the old wounds in order to address them. You can't keep them hidden because your heart race. You can't keep them hidden because it makes you feel nauseous. You can't keep them hidden because it gives you a headache. I remember when I addressed one of my old wounds and actually this was in April. It was the last one that was driving me nuts. I was down for the count for 5 days, y'all. 5 days. And what do you mean by down for the count? Down for the count means my daughter would look at me and said, "Mommy, why do you look so sad?" And I would say, "Just give me a few days, baby. Mommy will be back. Just give me some time." And I told her, I said, "I am thinking through and working through some things. And it's going to make mommy look sad. It's going to make mommy feel weird. But at the end of it, mommy's going to be a better mommy."
Yeah. Right.
And my daughter just said, "Okay." And in about 5 days, she looked at me and she goes, "Oh, mommy, you look better. You feeling better?" I said, "I'm feeling great." So you have to allow yourself to go through the process. And the process is not going to always be easy. It's not going to always feel great, but there's an end result to it. So I must tell you that I'm speaking from a place of a certified life coach, and I'm speaking from a place of a certified hypnotherapy practitioner.
Can't see your face.
I somehow lost connection, but but that's okay. I don't know. Well, I hope it comes back.
I'm hearing you though.
You can hear me, you just can't see me. Okay, well that's okay. I'm not closing the browser. I'm just going to keep talking because we're almost done. Okay. So at the end of the day, what I recommend that you guys do is do the real work. And the real work is not addressing the surface stuff. So coming in January, you all are going to have things that you want to do differently. A lot of you are going to have things that you want to work on that you wanted to work on this year but didn't get to because of COVID. Don't let anything external deter you from working on the inner stuff, the inner work. The inner work is something that nothing external, not even a pandemic, should stop you from doing. In a pandemic, I did every and anything you can think about to do the inner work. I became certified twice over, a lot of things. So it is really important that as January is coming and you know there are things you need to work on, you start digging deep and going in the real. For me, I learned that being that I grew up with a lot of violence in my household growing up, I avoided conflict as an adult. That's really interesting because I have another brother that's saying the same thing, but he says I avoid conflict for the exact same reason. There it is. So he's telling you, I'm assuming, Roderick, you're saying you avoid conflict because of
violence growing up.
What Raymel said. So I'm assuming that. But what you guys just did is you identified a root cause. So if you know you avoid conflict because of the violence that you saw growing up, then you know that you now have to reframe that violence. And you have to know that not every conflict situation is going to end up as violence. It's not going to result in that manner. You also have to reframe it and look at the situation that was versus who you are today. The adult that you are today will make the world of difference. And he said it was always resolved by violence. I'm sorry to hear that. And that is the same type of memory as I was talking about that triggers us, like I had when I was 8 years old. I saw my abuser being beat half to death, and that shut me down. I never told anybody. I mean, after that incident, I was sexually abused again, but I never told anybody because of that incident. So you refrain, your mind says you got to protect. Your mind is protecting you. You got to protect her. She can't tell. If she tells, then she's going to witness that thing that she don't want to witness. You see, Roderick, your subconscious mind is saying conflict. I have to run like hell from it, because if I don't, it's going to turn into violence. Right? So it is what happens to us as a child. It is what we witness. It's what we observe. It's what happened, and we think it's a part of our DNA, but it really isn't. It was a part of our environment. So, and then Bree says, for me, after losing my dad suddenly and the way I lost him, then getting in a 5-year long toxic abusive relationship, I took a step back. I learned that I was needing to be on my own and find myself. And I am still finding myself. I'm getting back to normal a little every day. I'm proud of you. I am really, really proud of you, Bree.
Oh, Bree.
I'm really proud of you. So listen, guys, it's 3 minutes before the hour, and this is a really good topic. And I think that we're going to, it's not 3 minutes before the hour. It's actually at the hour.
Yes.
Oh, what was I looking at? So we're gonna continue this. I read your face, cousin.
Okay.
Is your live about to go? How many minutes do you have? Okay.
I think we started late.
Okay, so here's the thing. We're going to continue this topic next week, because I think it's an important topic. I think it's one that all of us can resonate. It resonates with all of us in some way, shape, or form. It's a different scenario for all of us, because none of us walk in the same shoe. We all have a different scenario and approach
and journey that we are here on.
Absolutely. Our journey is different. Our paths are different, all of that. And so once we recognize that, we must know that it's really important that we do the work. Do not sit around for years upon years upon years. I started doing the work when I was 26 or 27 years old. Listen to what I said. I started doing the work when I was 26 or 27 years old, because that was when it profoundly started affecting everything about my life. My relationships were shit. My trust issues were at the pinnacle, and I could just keep going on and on and on. But it really took me being more mature and more open and more understanding, less concern about what other people think of me, less concern about how it would look to others, for me to start doing the real work. Okay. So I want to encourage you guys to do the real work. And if other people can't accept that, that's their business. Mine is communication about my needs. Absolutely, Moraine. And I understand your plight, and I know why. So let's continue this next week. Hopefully my picture won't kick out on Facebook, but for me, it wasn't about you seeing me. It was about you hearing me, because I really do believe that this topic is really important. And so I'm going to say goodnight, and I'm going to say, guys, it's so important that you work on yourself, not from the surface, but from the root. And let's start by doing that, by picking out the things that you know is hindering you and causing you problems. I want to thank everybody who's joined, those on Facebook, those on IG, those who tap in on the replay and tap in on YouTube. And for all of you who share, thank you so much for sharing, because sometimes it's hard to really come out of your face and say, I am not perfect.
Right. We are not perfect.
But we are not perfect.
Nobody else. Nobody is.
So, Angel says, thank you for being amazing. This is incredible conversation. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Moraine and Angel and Rod and Marsha and Ryan and Tanisha. Brianna and Raymel and everybody who joined in this conversation. And for those of you who didn't comment, thank you so much for being here and listening. And I hope that you got something from it. And we will pick this very topic up again next Monday.
All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you, my IG people. See you next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please go and follow my cousin, Stacy Henry-Carr. I pinned her name there. Go ahead and follow her. All right. Thank you. Bye. See you next week. And create a great night.
Yes. Create a great night, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.